Join me. Karibu sana. Yeah. Sorry. I can't have a stand. I don't have
Good afternoon, everyone. While we are waiting that our performers are ready, I'm going to try and invite you in the space where we are going right now. We are in a black hole of a prison in Khartoum. And we are going to listen to Hoda, which is a character doing a monologue, very much engaged, a feminist, but sometimes we have activism and militarian activism. So that is the border where we are going to witness a sort of military feminism inspired in a way by the peaceful advocatism of Francesca Plamenkova, which is the first senator of Czech Republic who inspired my writing, and unfortunately who died in a black hole in a prison of political activists. So I hope that you get the sense to embrace that dark place, but I'm sure that Mumbi and Otivo will be gentle with our souls and our spirits. Thank you very much.
If we were to write to the Chancellor today, like Madame Plamikova did, Katka, to whom should we write? The oil companies? Or should we go to the source of the problem? Who is the first thief of liberties, the founding father of evil? Mr. Chancellor, in the series of inaccuracies you have expressed, we need to have the same audacity and the right target, which you expressed in your response on Monday, and which can only be explained by historical and ethnographic errors. Let's have the same honesty, Katka. Let's be informed. You have inflicted a grave insult on our president, Dr. Benesh. Do we have men we can trust, Katka? Even this insult can perhaps be explained by the lack of information to which a dictator is subjected, whose entourage only informs him of things that go in line with his wishes. Indelible, elusive dictatorship. She continued, that's why I write. That is why I am writing. I visited the south of France by plane from May 13th to 15th, and there, not in the Czech-Slovak Republic, I was persuaded by the press and by the voice of the people that the German army was heading towards the borders of the CSR. How can I then assert that this is an invention of President Benesh? Who is invading our worlds, Katka? No one can suspect Dr. Benesh of lying if he knows Czech history, the Guild's heroic struggle in the 15th century for God's truth, their struggle for the same truth in the 17th century, the life of Masaryk, and the victory of his truthfulness, the national emblem of the Czech Republic, and that Dr. Benesh was his most beloved collaborator and disciple. To know our history. As an honest Democrat, I consider it my human duty to write these words to you, Mr. Chancellor, with the firm conviction that even against the armed forces, the truth shall prevail. Despite your military superiority, the truth will prevail. I'm so glad she said that, Katka. It makes me feel the sun through the walls, and the noise of the silent ones irritates my stolen freedom. Nothing is more frustrating. Probably at the same time, perhaps, if it turns out, there is nothing wiser. In times of chaos, wisdom no longer reigns. Bravery dictates calls for order, reassurances, and embraces for those threatened. One day, dawn. If there is no light in this hole, let me be the light. If there is no light within me, may the star that hears me breathe to those who go out to admire them at night. If I do not flee, I will give shelter to those who flee. Go, Katka. I let you go in peace. One day at dawn.
You can feel it in the streets. On a day like this, you can feel the cold breeze like it's winter's time. In a dark hole, lost in time. When I talk to you, will you answer my voice?
Can you feel that cold? It's better than the horrible humidity of the cells, isn't it? Much better, far superior. This will train us for our next battlefield, and it's for him that we'll hold on, Katka. Thank God we're still alive. Don't forget that. As long as there is life, as long as there is the sister, as long as there is faith, complete, Katka. Damn it, don't fall asleep. Definitely don't sleep in the cold. He will swallow you like the whale that only spits out a man. I told you, stay alert. I told you, don't sleep. Don't let yourself dream in your sleep, and don't trust anyone, not even me. I was telling you, wasn't that right? I was whispering it to you. And? Did you listen to me? Or did you make a pact with the same wicked stepmother who smiled at you maliciously? Didn't you deliberately, or what's your word, philanthropically let everyone touch your hair? Didn't you reveal all the stories about the reason for your temporary detention, your international status? Didn't you comment on your plans throughout Africa? And me, you thought I was the crazy one in the group. A strange, mute goat broken by the circumstances of prison life. And what happened after the commotion of your arrival in the cells, Katka? After the gossip about the little girl from Prague, a great ally to the women of the Nile in her journalism and humanitarian documentaries? Didn't you bring your harassment and bad luck with the light trophies in cell number 50, Katka? Why did you drag me into all of this afterwards? Did you pull me out of my comfort zone and involve me in your groupie problems? The stepmother started looking at me, threatening me and bribing me, except I am incorruptible, an incorruptible rebel. Oh, screw it. It was only meant to be. You have to let things break down in these prisons. When she told me to meet her in the shower, I knew something was going to happen. I had to keep the appointment. You see, I knew misfortune wasn't going to befall you. You pulled my hand straight into the hell I'd been running from since I arrived, and there you were in the shower, and we killed the one who shaved your head, even though I told you to leave her alone. So here we are, in the black hole of Khartoum, and we don't know when we'll get out. I haven't told anyone yet what I'm going to tell you, Katka. I don't know if you're trying to pull the wool over my eyes with your silence. I didn't hear any footsteps in your cell. I know you're there, perhaps desperate. But listen to this. Before I tell you my secret, you need to understand where I come from, who I truly am. And it all began more than 50 years ago. North of the city that houses the Nile, a girl was born 3 months before her due date. There were no sophisticated machines yet for premature babies, and so her life was welcomed as a miracle. The girl grew up under this legend, and with every challenge she faced, she was reminded how life itself was a strength within her, that nothing could overcome it. She was the village's best news, the pride of the community, and everyone contributed when her mother wanted the little girl present for an opportunity that arose in the village. That is how she herself became a midwife, and her dream was to deliver miracle babies. She traveled the world, countries at war, as a midwife, bringing life into the world amidst thousands of bombs. She started in Sudan, then Ethiopia, then the Central African Republic, then Rwanda and Egypt, and later in several refugee centers until one day she herself was attacked along with those she was caring for. The day of the attack had been one of those record days with 6 successful births when her tent was invaded by a group of mercenaries sent to evacuate war victims. It wasn't an attack, it was peace arriving abruptly, chaotic peace, unexpected peace, declared peace. The leader was a kind of cartoon character, square jaw, slicked back short hair, raw eyes full of meaning and severity, and he was imposing. In front of the authoritarian midwife, the handover of information wasn't smooth because she was against a militarized cohabitation. Legend has it that the mercenary charmed her for 3 days, then they left. She later learned she was pregnant. She had to keep me. That's my mother's story. Actually, I'm thinking about it. You never told me how you were born. Were you a project for your parents? A happy miracle? Or an unfortunate event? Were you a revelation or a secret? You haven't told me yet. You've told me lots of things, but you didn't tell me about that. Katka, do you have people waiting for you outside? A loving father, a proud mother? Do you have children, Katka? Who do you want your revolution to happen for? Who are you going down this hole for? The world in the open needs air, needs routine, anesthesia, lawn, soups, regular programs, familiar faces, in a common language, from community, of silence, relaxation, of calm, of peace. Routine anesthesia, from lawn to shade, vegetable soups, regular programs about laughter, familiar faces from childhood, from a common organic language, from the community to the arts, the same, of uninhabited silence, a spacious, odorless relaxation area. She was there, Katka. Frankishka. Madame Planmikova. Madame Plum. She was next to me in the Kalahari desert, ready to mount my camel. I said to her, "Wait, you want to fight with me?" She turned towards me gently, slowly, and looked at me tenderly and said, "The sand will not stop her people of morality. It is we, Hoda, who will impose common sense and love. We, the women, will impose it. I will speak to them." I was stunned. I thought, no. You're going to die. We're all going to die. These people have no common sense. That's why she died the first time, to believe in the common sense of these guys. We had arranged to meet with them, to settle the Nile water issue, those who draw it from miles away and those who want to sell it. We were going to settle it on a battlefield once and for all, because they never listen, Katka. They don't even try. They think everything can be settled by exchanging power and money, Katka. Believe me, they never understand. They never listen. And then, I didn't see the part in my dream, but it must have been hard work for me to show my all-female army. Katka, an army of displaced people, an army of poor women from Africa who help each other in the south, but who aren't helped by the governments. Do you know how hard it is to find weapons in real life? In dreams, as long as you want to, you can. So there I was, standing before Madame Plum. I told her what I was thinking because we were both in a dream. I asked her, "Do you know how inhumane it is to go into battle with a child in your arms? Do you know how unimaginable it is to train several women? Do you know why we had to take up arms? It's because they don't listen. They kill and hoard, and they have more women to feed them when they go to war, and so they think they only have to listen to the ones who feed them. We have no one. And besides, you forgot your burqa, Frankishka." And I swear, Katka, right then and there, after those strange words, she did something even more surreal. She put my camel on her back. I didn't understand anymore. Then she shouted something in your language, or a song, a singing starting cry. And she started saying everything you told me. She said, "To rebuild the world, Hoda, is to reject every destructive path already taken. The path of war has yielded nothing. This camel did nothing to end up on your battlefield. Look at your children. Why should they weep before your bodies? Why? Is it noble to fight but without weapons, Hoda? It is noble to fight but without weapons, Hoda. Can you protect your interests without betraying the peace?" She throws the question at me like that, Katka. She sets the camel down. My camel looks at me. I look at the camel. It was humiliated to have been lifted, my camel. I look at Madame Plum and I say to her, "The children are already living through the war, Madame Plum. They are on your laps. They are on our laps, waiting for us to save them. We must do something. First, they have moved close to the water wells. Then they registered on the lists of the most vulnerable. Then they gave up their nationality to get the coveted papers. Then everything stopped. Then they went on hunger strikes. Isn't it strange that nobody is doing anything? We have to be there for us." Then you know what, Katka? I think I launched into my fighting speech. I said, I declaimed, "My sisters, like an eternal caricature, indelible, elusive, dictatorship, it will be quickly missed by the man, subtly countered by the woman from the east. Dominating, yes, thank you, but then what? What is the currency of exchange, my sisters? Constantly regretting, incessantly nostalgic. The male population is forgetting about the future. the feminine one from the West, blurred by Western domination. In his actions, hiding behind our male liberating fathers, citing everyone except our liberating sisters, these people who predominantly elevate the masculine are lost in solitude. We are lost, we, the feminine people of the East. Instead of remaining bewildered, my sisters, caught between spontaneity and laissez-faire, let us act like a leech of history. Stagnation is the best friend of the fear of deconstruction. Let us no longer be paralyzed in front of the buildings of power. Let us no longer lose our way in front of those tiles echoing with footsteps. Let us hesitate no longer, given our minuscule height in the face of these walls with their crumbling marble. We are full of worry and responsibility, and they exude the emptiness of long drawn-out chatter. My sisters, we are the daughters whose coming was foretold by the prophetesses, guided by the lack of justice. The one who will save the world from man, the one in books, the one chosen by the omnipresent mother in the breath of all creatures, and the toxic, vulnerable ones, and the silent, brave ones. And my sisters, the mother of all, has chosen me. Me. They took me for a mad woman, sisters from the East, but our actions will speak for me. My actions will speak for us, for me. Isn't that right, my sisters? And we will demand what is rightfully ours from the decision makers, those who have been terrified from our letters, our strikes, our demands, those who wish to provide final answers to our numerous questions about borders. I'll introduce them. The eternal question in the face of solutions for deposits. The end will always be a series of questions, because we are all here because of their silence. We have all asked ourselves questions. Nobody is sacrificing themselves for us. When will we stop dying only for others? Today, my sisters, the question I ask you is, who would want to die for their freedom? Like Mrs. Plum, our heroine, dying for her principles, dying for her peace, for herself, and then for others? Who is ready to die for themselves? And then, Katka, I received a wave of applause. No, it was more like footsteps in the sand, full of a plasticky sound. Strangely enough, but we were ready to leave. And you know what? That's when Madame Plum turned her back on us and left. And then I woke up. I had to tell you. Get me out of here! What did you do to my sister? Why isn't she talking anymore? You're going to open the door for me right now, you murderers. You'll tell all. You'll pay for everything, you rapists. Where is she? Answer me! Answer me, even if you have even an ounce of guts to face me. I swear to you. Listen to me carefully. I'm leaving here, and if you touched a single one of my belongings, if you touched one of my friends, you'll pay for it with your... You'll have no more peace. Open up! Katka! Are you in the remote cell? What did you do to him? Are they going to get me out of this hole? Okay, we share the mic. I'm putting on the hat of question asker now. In the interest of time, I'll just jump in and ask you how this play came about.
Yes, Mumbi, first of all, thank you so much for giving that version of Hoda that I have seen in Prague with the residency that invited me in Prague called Prague, the City of Literature. So it's a residency that invites artists, photographers, but mainly writers of novels, playwrights, about the city, either if it's the river of Prague, if it's political figures, or just poems. You are invited to stay there for 1 month or two and get to know the city and write something about what you explored there. So with the collaboration of the National Library of Prague, but also the Africa Creation Festival that the director Lucy Nemekova is representing here, I had the opportunity to explore and find what talked to me as figures of that country. That is where I discovered Francesca Plamenkova, who is the first feminist fighter, I would say, but she started as a primary instructor, fighting for the rights to be a mother, to be a spouse. And when she fought for that right as an instructor of primary school, she gave up on her dream of founding a family and decided to continue fighting for women's rights in Czech Republic. And that was before the revolutionary feminism in Sweden, in France, and in the West in general. And I was very, very, very positively surprised, because the Eastern Europe is not a place where we get to be exposed to. We don't have much access to what's happening there, and mainly I think it's because of the language, because I struggled a little bit with the libraries where you have the Czech language is very present, and they do write, they do love to read, but mainly in their language. So yes, that's how I come about to see Francesca Plamenkova. Yes, with making it short, that is how it came about. Yes, thank you.
All right, I'll ask you one more question and then we'll open questions out to the floor. So if you have questions, just start to think through what it is you'd like to know about the playwright, or what you'd like to know about the play. The other question that I had is, how is it that this play is being shown here in Nairobi? Because I know it was originally written in French.
Yes, indeed. Indeed. Thank you for mentioning that. So I write in French and do think mainly in French, because that's I'm from Burundi, and that's where we study first French before English in Burundi. But in Kenya, why? Because I had the pleasure to hear about a writer here, Wanjiru, who had a collaboration with Prague, the National Library there.
That's Wanjiru Koinange.
Yes, yes. That was hosted by the director of the Africa Creation, and the idea was to make a collaboration between Kenya and Czech Republic. And yes, we came about with this play that we envisioned being performed or presented by a Kenyan, so that it becomes a collaboration between the three countries. So the translation had to be made, but it was made in Tanzania, where I live, by the Alliance Française of Tanzania, of Dar es Salaam. And we had you as the performer who's honoring to read that, and I thank you for that. And before the public getting to ask a question, I would love if you allow me, how did you also feel about when we were speaking? I remember how we talked about the Sisters of the East, how even as Eastern Africans, we do hear a lot about West African productions and literature. We are very much inspired by the West in Africa, and the West in Europe is very much present as well in terms of sponsors or presence. So how did you feel about working not only with an Eastern sister from Africa, but also from Europe? And Hoda, who is Sudanese actually, and the Nile environment. How did you feel about that?
That's an ambush. Well, I was surprised to hear that the Tanzanians are the ones who translated the play into English. So it is even a wider scope of East African art. And it's true in my experience as I write performance that usually has traditional musical instruments, and I also often will curate a performance with an exploration into traditional forms, whether it's narration or dance or singing. And often if you look on the internet, you'll find, if you use the word Africa, you'll find things from South Africa, and if it's instruments, you'll find the djembe is very prominent. But if you want to find out about the litungu or the orutu, it's very rare. Maybe now it's more common, but if you're looking for Kenyan instruments and the history of them, or where can I find somebody to teach me how to play, it's very difficult. So I was really delighted and happy about this collaboration, because I have never met a playwright from Burundi, and it's just opening our circles a lot more so that we can collaborate and find ways in which possibly we can work together. I recently actually just last week I was approached by a Malawian playwright who, I don't know whether that extends to East, but I know in Malawi they speak Swahili. So there is definitely a bubbling of East African content, and hopefully we can put it online so that those who didn't see it, because this is the thing about live performance, if you weren't there, then you don't know that it happened. Yeah, so I'm really happy to have met you, and
Me too.
and also to have collaborated with you. It's a really beautiful piece.
Well, thank you.
So we'll open. I don't know whether there's a microphone, or will you use this one? Oh, there's a question right here in the front. What? 2 microphones.
Is this work? Yes, it's working. Thank you so much for that beautiful reading of that beautiful text. I am a Chilean author, and so you will excuse my ignorance for the question that I'm going to ask. I have the idea, and you'll correct me, that the oral tradition here in Africa not only is very important, but still remains, right? So how does this reading of your text connect with the oral tradition from Kenya or from Burundi? Did you use writing strategies that go back to that tradition, or do you feel that your writing departs from that tradition in some way, and in the same way, your reading of it, how does it connect or not? Is it different? Is it a departure from that tradition in the way it's done? That's my question.
Well, I find that a beautiful question. You didn't have to excuse yourself for that. Actually, very relevant, but I do not think that I have use a strategy from the oral tradition from my country because it's much more poetic, right? I really was trying to imagine a woman in a cell, losing her mind, a mercenary, a violent one, actually, because it was cutted from many places. So the strategy that I did, it was just imagining someone who is not very coherent, but having slices of memories, trying to stimulate another person in another cell, bringing back that memory of Francesca Plamenkova, who herself died in a black hole at 65 years old by the Nazis. And it's very complex because I could not write in Francesca's language and age and, you know, period, because we are not in the same era and I didn't have the time to work on that language. But I did want to go back in that place, whereas as an activist, when we are locked, when we do not have ways of networking with others to save ourselves and being in a black hole, being under dictatorship, what do we think when we are at the end of our lives? How do we still fight for hope? What are inhibiting us? So that is where I try to go. And given what's happening in Sudan, I have been reading on the Khartoum prison, how the tortures are happening there, and yes, that's the strategy I used in a nutshell. I don't know, Mumbi, if you have something to add, given that you had a part of the question.
I think you've answered it. Yeah. I don't want to start talking about my work because this isn't about that. Any other questions? Right at the back, there's, I think, 2 people. Super. Do you mind standing up so that we can see you? You're quite hidden. Thank you so much.
Hello.
Hello.
Sorry. So my question was about translation. So you said that you lost some. I wonder if you lost anything in translation, because Francesca's language was different from French and English, I'm assuming. And then there's also the translation from French to English. And I believe also at one point, I want to ask, were you translating with your heart? Because given there's time and dreams and distance and silence of the oppressed and of the people who have gone before us and the ones that we don't even see passing us by and leaving us, what was lost in that process, do you feel, and how did you attempt to bridge that gap?
I very much love that question. One, because I think that's why I believe in theater. In theater, when you are on stage and you get to use a text from whatever background, the silences, the connection, the energy, the anger, how you bring everything is another kind of translation which has nothing to do with the language itself. But about the Czech language, I do not think that it was that far from what's written, because it was an official letter that Francesca Plamenkova has written to Hitler himself, the chancellor. So it was formal, it had been translated in its time, and we very much took it as it is. And nothing was, I think it was close to the original message. However, I must tell that it's very revealing to me, and it's many colors when I listened to the play in Czech Republic, where I said to Lucy here, the director, who is a translator herself, so I would love you to intervene on that if you can. In the Czech language, I felt like the play was even more violent coming to me. I really felt the heaviness of it. Maybe partly because the reading was accompanied by an electric guitar and it was very tense. And from French to English, I feel like there are expressions who do lack their tenant. But given that I do not think in English, maybe it's just a perception of mine. So maybe I feel it a little bit loose, whereas the English natural speakers do feel the same heaviness of the expression as I do feel it when it's in French. I don't know if you see what I mean. When you translate something from Swahili, for instance, in English, sometimes you feel like the Swahili is really speaking to your heart and it's a heavy expression. And in English, you might feel like it's very on the surface sometimes, but probably because I am Swahili Swahili speaker, whereas the English native speaker can feel the expression as heavy as you do feel it heavy in your own language. So those are the mystery areas of the translation word. I do not. I cannot talk as an expert in that field, just as an audience myself.
If I can say, I have plays that I've written in English that have been translated into Kiswahili, and when I listen to the Kiswahili versions, I can't tell that I wrote the thing, if that makes sense, because it's so much more lyrical. So if, for instance, I was to speak the words of the English poet, I think his name is Wordsworth, who would say, "I wandered lonely as a cloud through daffodils." And if that was then translated into Kiswahili, it may not even have any daffodils in it. This is I think, what happens when the mother tongue is very rich with metaphor, which sometimes maybe is lost when you translate into English, which is your second language and not your first language. And in your case, it's your possibly third language. So it becomes difficult to, the thickness, if I want to say, kedukimata, it's not there because maybe we don't have the necessary grasp of the English language to find the lyricism. So something I'm sure is lost. But it's beautiful that also we can speak these many languages so that many people can understand. If we'd done the play in Czech, there'd have been maybe 3 people in the audience who could understand what was being said. 2. Yeah. There was one last question at the back, and then we'll have to wrap it up because there are people lurking, doing hand signals at me. Right at the very back, if we could have a microphone for the person at the very back with the glasses who had their hand up before. Shall I bring you my mic? Is somebody? Could you put your hand up? Leave it up. Stay with your hand up. Put your hand up and leave it up, please.
Don't move.
I think they waved. Can you put your hand up so they can bring you the microphone because they can't find you? Just put your hand up and leave it up. Or maybe they no longer want to ask a question. Okay, all right. Maybe their question has been answered. Yeah. It's possible the question was answered. Well, thank you very, very much, Laura Sheïlla.
It's me who thank you, and thanks to the audience who has been so much with us. I really address my big thanks to the Lit Fests and their welcoming, their invitation. Very, very big, much thank you. And to the Czech Republic in Nairobi, Madam Ambassador Nicole Adamtsova, thank you very much for your welcoming as well, the hospitality. And to you, the performer, Otivo, thank you. Thank you very much.
And I'd like to also say thank you. That was so beautiful and so moving and so tender. Thank you for the tenderness, Laura. Thank you, Mumbi, and thank you, Otivo. Please give them such a warm round of applause. And for the gift. And Otivo, is Otivo here with us? Gosh, every time he sang, my body, between Mumbi and Otivo and Laura's words, my body was just goosebumps the whole time. Thank you. Otivo might have run off somewhere. And as you're smiling at them beautifully, as they smile beautifully at you back, I wanted to let you know that the Wi-Fi is back. It is free, it's Eastland's library, there's no password. With thanks to Liquid Intelligent Technologies for that. And the hashtag is #NBOLitFest. A big round of applause for Laura and Mumbi.